It's your daily dose of Donna. Welcome to the show. Today is Monday, August 5th. Happy Monday. I hope you guys enjoyed your weekend. I surely did. We had a fun Friday night out. We had a very chill Saturday and a fun full day yesterday. We talked about it. Lance and I had a Patreon episode that we released last night. I have yet to listen to it. Not sure if I want to listen to it because it was one of those nights, let's just say, uh, hmm, drinks were drank. Drinks were drank. But I think we pulled it off. We were trying very hard to make the most out of our last kid-free weekend before our boys come back from camp on Wednesday, and we really did it. Because Friday we left our house at like 5 p.m., went for an early dinner happy hour at a Mexican restaurant, Casita, down the street, then stopped over across the street at Thai Show, saw Sherry O'Terry. That was a story I didn't even talk about it on Patreon. That was quite the story. And then we went over to Jax's. And if you are on the Facebook group or you follow me on Instagram stories, you saw my experience at Jax's. And let me tell you, I'm worried about that Jax's. I am worried about Jax's because Jax's has let's see. Jax's my experience at Jax's bar at Friday night at 9 p.m. was akin to your experience when you I'm trying to think like that feeling. That the crickets, cobwebs, awkward silences, moment where you look at yourself and your friends and you say, do you think anyone would notice if we just left? No, no one would notice because no one was there. All of this and more, you guys, Real Housewives of New Jersey. We're going to talk about that. Big Brother, all the things on today's Daily Dose of Donna.
Can you imagine? Not feeling magic. Can you imagine? Not feeling magic.
Man, oh man, what a time to be alive. Mark Ward says the beer cheese market is dropping like the stock market. Keep it here for more forecasts. Yes, we have breaking news all the time. And yes, I try really hard not to watch the news unless it's like, super important, but I just saw the information and the stock market situation. Oh, wow. This country, good luck to us. Good luck to so many people right now. I'm a little bit in a funk. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm in a little bit of a funk. We just received some really, really sad news, family, personal news. Everything is okay with myself and Lance and our kids, but it's kind of throwing me off. And I'll be able to have more information, as I get more information. So I really need an upper, and that's why I'm with you guys, because you guys are like you're my Adderall. Isn't that what an upper is? You're my good stuff, We need to all keep each other happy in these really, really crazy, crazy times. We just need to ha ha, laugh, laugh, love, love. Mwah, mwah. All I can say is if you're wondering if you live a decent life, I just want you to know the way that you can know it is if you look at who's sleeping next to you in your bed. And as long as it's not Louis, I think you're okay. Louis single-handedly has ruined Real Housewives of New Jersey, in my opinion. It all stems down or all surrounds Louis. We'll get into it. We'll talk about all of that. Before we get into today's stories, which we have so many of, I would love to talk about this week's sponsor of Daily Dose of Donna, and that is BetterHelp. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Now, let's talk about non-negotiables really fast. Self-care non-negotiables. I believe so wholeheartedly in this. You guys know, you've been listening, you've been watching now for a long time. I think you guys know that one thing I always do is move my body, exercise. Even this morning, after, you know, one of those days yesterday, I woke up this morning. I said, I have to force myself to get on the Peloton. I did. Your non negotiables are super important. But one thing that we don't do and we don't make as a non negotiable, unless maybe you're, I don't know, who would you say like never misses therapy? Jeff Lewis. No, Jeff Lewis needs more therapy. Therapy. When your schedule is packed with kids' activities and big work projects and more, it's easy to let your priorities slip. Even when we know what makes us happy, it's hard to make time for it. So, therapy for me is something that I need to really, really incorporate into my life. Sometimes I get a little lazy with it. I'm not going to lie. You start to think, like, I'm good. I'm feeling good. And then things start to kind of build up inside and then you explode. So, if you're thinking of starting therapy, you may want to consider BetterHelp. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Donna today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Donna, DANA. Thank you guys. Thank you, BetterHelp. We all need our therapy. Oh my gosh, so random, so funny. I mentioned Jeff Lewis. I just need to say this. He had one of the best episodes ever on Friday. So I don't listen to Jeff Lewis every day anymore. We've talked about this all the time. But someone told me, well, okay, I get a text message from a girlfriend of mine on Saturday morning. She texts me. She goes, oh my God, she and her husband, she was like, my husband, who knows me too, said you would get a kick out of this. I think that you're going to die over this story. I am checking out right now from a place called We Cares in Palm Springs. It's a detox spa. I wanted to come here with my husband for my birthday. Instead of eating cake and being hungover, I wanted to go to a detox spa. And guess who's here? And I was like, I don't need a guess. Like, I think I know. Jeff Lewis. She's like, Jeff Lewis and Shannon Bedore, who I guess is on a Real Housewife, she tells me. She goes, I don't watch Real Housewife, but I've been hanging out with all of them this entire time. She goes, we know Beverly D'Angelo because she and Beverly D'Angelo share a friend, right? They have a mutual friend. And so I sent her the picture of Shannon and Jeff and Beverly D'Angelo on Jeff's Instagram. And I was like, yes, look. And she goes, oh my God, Beverly was in that dress for 3 days. She's like, the amount of laughter that I have been laughing over the last few days with Beverly D'Angelo. So I went, and then she said I was on the extended show. And I said, oh my God. So on the extended show, I guess, and I feel bad for her that I didn't listen to. I was like, I'll listen to it right now. I still haven't listened to the extended, but I guess on the extended, I think it was Beverly and Joey Zauzig, and they brought her on the show. So if you guys listen to Friday's extended show, and she's like, I don't know Jeff. I don't know. Like, I don't know any of these people. She loved Joey. She said Joey was the sweetest, like nicest guy ever. She said this place was really hardcore, but I listened yesterday on my dog walk. I listened to Friday's episode with Jeff, Shannon, and Beverly D'Angelo and Joey Zauzig. And I'll tell you, it might as well just been the Beverly D'Angelo show. The way I laughed, I I don't know if she's always this good because I didn't listen to Jeff Lewis when she was on the show as a regular. If you guys don't know who Beverly D'Angelo is, obviously she was the wife in all the National Lampoon movies, but I really know her as, the fairy godmother from Made to Order. If you don't remember Made to Order in the 80s, Ali Sheedy, this is a movie like, stop what you're doing. Tom Bergen, go see Made to Order. That is my girl. Like, that's how I think of Beverly D'Angelo. I find her to be like, she was so beautiful. I mean, she still is, but she's so funny. And the way that she's talking about how she was dying for cigarettes at this place. And as they're driving to Palm Springs, she was like, I need to stop. I need a Diet Coke. I need a Xanax. I need a cigarette. Like, I laughed so hard. She's talking about getting a colonic in the same dress that she's wearing on the show. Like, it's so funny. This was the best episode of Jeff Lewis I think I've ever heard. So if you don't subscribe to Jeff Lewis, you may want to go and just listen to that Friday episode. Mark says, but don't get it twisted. Bev does not smoke. This is so funny. She kept talking about how she was like jonesing for a cigarette, but she kept saying, I don't smoke. Okay. Because I know I don't smoke, because if I did smoke, I would need more than two. I don't smoke, but I needed that cigarette. I don't smoke. Oh my God. It was so funny. And Shannon basically didn't talk. Like, and it was the best part about it because she was just laughing the entire time, not saying that I didn't want to hear her. But Beverly D'Angelo at one point goes, this is horrible. She talks like this, by the way. She has such a smoker's voice. And she was like, this is horrible because I, I'm all about women supporting women, but I'm not letting Shannon Bedore speak at all. And Shannon's like, I'm okay. Now, Shannon mentioned at some point that she was going to have another live show with Vicky, the Vicky and Shannon live show that they go on tour with. But she said, no, we pushed it because of the dating show. So remember, I talked about this like last week or the week before that Shannon and Luann and Ashley Darby and Giselle are tapped to do this dating show. So they must be shooting it really soon. Um, I don't know. It was such a joy to listen to that episode. I didn't listen to this morning's Jeff Lewis though, so I don't know what they talked about it. But man, that woman cracked me up. Like no one else spoke. It was just the Beverly D'Angelo show, and I wanted so much more of it. It was amazing. Okay, so that why did I even talk about that? Oh, because I mentioned Jeff Lewis needing therapy. Yeah, so my friend was there and she's like, I have to call you because this is more than a text. Like the stories are hilarious. So we'll have to go and hang out with or I'm gonna have to get her to talk to me. She's also the same friend. She doesn't watch any of the housewives, but one of her best friends is one of the head producers of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And in fact, she is the producer that is like asking them questions in the confessionals and stuff. So she's got some ins. We got to get in those ins. It was pretty I just couldn't believe it. I was like, of all people, my friend is with Jeff Lewis at We Cares. Like, what are the chances? So funny. Okay. Um, oh my gosh, where do we start? Let's just start with some random stories. Yeah. Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Now, we've talked about this. I am so excited. This is going to be on Hulu. Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is the reality show that is basically based on um, TikTok stars. They are Mormon women that got like basically viral on TikTok. And they were embroiled in this crazy, I mean, how would you even say it? Like a scandal, a swinging scandal. Okay. So Hulu's reality show about swinging Mormon moms, I swear, swinging Mormon moms in Utah sparks fierce backlash in the LDS church. And of course it would. This is their biggest fear, the LDS church, that like this would come out. The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives will premiere on Hulu on September 6th. And the cast, one of the main people is Taylor Frankie Paul. Now, Taylor was the main one that was embroiled in this swinging scandal. She was the one that went crazy viral after talking about it. She ended up getting a divorce from her husband. Then she ended up getting arrested. She started dating this other guy. She was like drinking heavily, whatever. Now I know she's sober. She ended up getting married to this new guy. I'm pretty sure that she just had another baby with this new guy. But it's it's going to be really good. It better be really good. So this controversial reality show obviously is getting a lot of backlash from the actual Mormon church, just like I would imagine Real Housewives of Salt Lake City does as well. The discussions are all about what it means to be a modern day Mormon. So the series, the women that are in the show are like super glamorous influencer type moms. If you can think about like their houses are very white, their kitchens are very clean and organized. They all wear, their long, beautiful extensions. They all have like these cute bodies and they all do all their dances and stuff. And so a lot of real Mormon, actual practicing Mormon women are pretty pissed off that this is being part of, that this is getting monetized because they're thinking like this has nothing to do with being an LDS wife. They have nothing in common with us. Like they're just into this to be famous or whatever. They don't live the values of the LDS church, so this will only give the church more negative attention or positive. It kind of depends on who you are. Are they mad at Lisa Barlow? Is my question. Because think about it. Lisa Barlow, She says that she is like a practicing Mormon, but she doesn't live that Mormon lifestyle, right? So this one says Real Housewives of Salt Lake City was the same thing. None of the cast on that show talked like any Mormon I've ever met. What they didn't say, love it. I love it. Love. I love it. These people are definitely not representative of the typical Mormon experience. However, some members of the LDS church came to the cast's defense on social media. They said, I was thinking that it might be more like a documentary of a deconstruction of their faith, what it was like growing up in the church and why they led the lives that they do now, which I would find super interesting, one mom says on TikTok. Now, there was like one of the girls that's on the show is I know I saw another TikTok that went viral that she's like, this guy is like, how did I recognize the main girl who's pregnant in the trailer for The Secret Wives? And she apparently this girl went under like a firestorm because her daughter or baby, I don't know if it was a girl or a boy, was hospitalized with RSV at some point earlier, maybe last year or something. And while her daughter or her child was hospitalized with RSV with like tubes and really in the hospital, so obviously not doing very well, she decided to do like viral dancing and filmed it. Now, the series is produced by the same team behind Julia Hart's My Unorthodox Life. So this is so up their alley. It's going to be, to me, I have a feeling it's going to be real good. Real good. Yes, Whitney Levitt is one of the controversial figures. She was slammed in 2021 for doing the TikTok dance next to her ailing baby in the NICU. Ah, to a Kendrick Lamar song. If that doesn't speak, Mormon values, then what does? What does? Um, Someone said because one of them promoted a sex toy on Instagram, someone says, "Well, I'm LDS and I believe sex is for only making babies, not for fun." Can you imagine? Can you imagine 48 like to have sex purely for making babies? Well, good luck getting sex more than like once a year, husband. Horrible. Horrible, horrible. Anyway, the more controversial, the more likely I'm going to be sitting my ass down to watch it. I don't know about you guys, but it sounds amazing to me. All right, Andrew, Andrew, Andrew. This is a family show, Andrew. Okay? I'm not even going to say it for the audio version. If you're interested what Andrew just said, come on over to YouTube. Okay. Scheana Shay is a judge. She has judged many, many people on Vanderpump Rules, but now she's actually getting paid to judge Miss USA. Scheana Shay was the judge of Miss USA in LA. Let's do an only rhyming story about Scheana Shay. Scheana Shay did Miss USA, judged Miss USA in LA, and she looked happy and gay. No? Okay. I'll work on that. The 73rd Miss USA pageant, which is back in its original home in California. I didn't realize that it was originally in California. It was at the Peacock Theater in downtown LA on Sunday yesterday. Garcelle from Beverly Hills and Kelty Knight from E! News also were hosts. And Scheana was one of the judges. She did the red carpet. And then obviously next to her was Lala. Lala joined her as on the red carpet, and I thought it was actually they looked great. Lala's very pregnant in this like tight white dress. Um, I love this story, you guys. This is on Daily Mail. It says, rounding out her overall look, the West Covina native. Like, do you think Scheana Shay wants to be known as the West Covina native? Had her long black tresses pulled back off her face. She was also with Allie, James and Allie. Um, You guys, what would you do? What would you do if your name was if you were Allie and this is how you were described in this article? She was also joined on the red carpet by Allie Luber, an internet personality. An internet personality. I mean, aren't we all? You're an internet personality, so am I. We are all internet personalities. Danielle here in the comments says, I was in Miss New York, USA. Were you? Oh, you competed in Miss New York? That's exciting. Anyway, she looked good, she judged, she seemed happy, she was enjoying it. I think Scheana is probably doing her best right now to kind of uh, get out of the Vanderpump Rules like bad circle of press that she got. I think Lala probably is too. I don't think they're talking so much about the show anymore. I did see a story about Scheana Shay and Candace Cameron Bure. See how many rhyming. Scheana Shay judges Miss USA in LA and talks about her drama with Candace Cameron Bure. Now, good for her. Good for her. Was it air? Did it air yet, or is it like airing later on? I have no idea. I'm not going to watch the Miss USA. Do you guys watch this stuff? Are we interested in this? I'm not. I don't think I am. So next on the docket, do we think Scheana Shay, by the way, do we think that she is going to be okay without Vanderpump Rules? Like if Vanderpump Rules never comes back, do you think she'll be okay? Will Scheana Shay be okay? Is the name of this episode. Zac Efron. This is a weird story. I can't really get my head around like what exactly is happening because it's not very clear. But Zac Efron, the story goes like this. On Saturday, he was taken to the hospital in Ibiza. I'm going to say Ibiza. I'm not going to say Ibiza. I can't. He was taken to the hospital following an incident while swimming in a Lux Villa in Ibiza. What does that mean? Now, when I first saw the article, it was on Saturday. So it was like right after it got released on TMZ, and it said Zac Efron was found inside the swimming pool by two people working at the villa who pulled him out of the water. Excuse me. I went down the wrong pipe. So he was pulled out of the water by two people who work at this villa. What do you think happened? For me, when someone is in a pool and needs to be pulled out, like we have a drowning incident. We have like an conscious incident. We have I've fallen and I can't get up incident. Like what could possibly have happened other than like he passed out in the pool and like almost died? I mean, that's the only thing that like you can't be pulled out of a pool, need to be pulled out of a pool and not be almost dying. If you're being pulled out of a pool, that means if those people didn't pull you out of the pool, would you have survived? So this part is very, very confusing to me. Now, what's weird about it is that he just took a picture. Oh no, the incident was on Friday night. And then yesterday he took a picture of him looking mighty in shape, I should say. Andrew Dominguez, this one's for you. And he's shirtless, wearing little shorts on an exercise ball, doing chest presses. He says, "Happy and healthy. Thanks for the well wishes." What do you think? Well, it's an odd thing. Now, Zac Efron to me feels like he has done okay for himself, right? He definitely went off like a deep end a little bit for a second. Like he was like partying a lot and like, living his best life. And then he had recently this whole like face transformation. He got, he shattered his jaw. He did plastic surgery, like all of these things. But I just saw this movie with him the other day. The movie with him and Nicole Kidman, and it was so cute. Joey King, who I saw on a dog walk the other day. She lives in my neighborhood because I see her on a dog walk all the time. So Joey King and Zac Efron, they just did this movie. It was so cute. Now I can't remember. Family Affair. I told you about it last week on Netflix. So cute. I thought it was adorable. That being said, it was, he's living, he's doing okay. This is weird. I think there was a drug incident. Do you guys think so? Do you think he got like really drunk or on drugs? I think something happened along those lines, in my opinion. Good luck to Zac Efron. Now, one more news story before we get into Real Housewives of New Jersey, and that is Ben Affleck. Now, we have to be a little bit concerned about Ben Affleck in this moment. Why? Because Ben Affleck has debuted a new look. Let's see. Maybe I'll pull this up for you guys if you haven't already seen it. It's bad. It's bad. Now, I think everyone can pretty much at this point assume that he and J-Lo are done, right? We can pretty much assume it at this point because they haven't been seen together for forever. They have no we have no connection of the two of them. And it looks to me like they're really separated, right? But this is what Ben Affleck was seen looking like. When I showed Lance this, he goes, "It has to be for a role. There's no way this is not for a role." He has a faux hawk. He's wearing a Red Hot Chili Peppers t-shirt. He's wearing skinny jeans, aviators, and black leather jacket that appears undersized but went noticeably without his wedding ring. This was them at their wedding. They've not been seen together in 2 months. Obviously, he just bought a new house we heard about. This is him on his motorbike. He's going to the Soho House. This is where the Soho House is in whatever, West Hollywood. The question is what's going on here? I don't think he's filming. I think he went to the Soho House to meet a friend for, lunch or drinks or whatever. And this is what he looks like. Maybe J-Lo. Oh, gosh, his back tattoo. I forgot about that guy. This is enough of a reason never to marry Ben Affleck. It's a dragon on his back. It takes over the entire back. I will say something really fast. This picture of his dragon reminds me of the Joe Rogan joke on the Netflix special that Lance and I watched Saturday night. And he said that I can't remember what he compared it to. He said something and is like saying that you are okay. I don't want to get into the politics of it, but he said it's like holding a lighter and saying that you're a dragon. The way I laughed, and now I remember what he said. It's like saying that you're a steakhouse and you're meat free, or saying that you're a comedy club and you're not woke. He's like, there's no way that you can be a comedy club and be woke. Okay, the way I laughed. So anyway, Ben Affleck is obviously going through something. Now he and J-Lo are definitely going to be done. So I wonder why are we getting married anymore? And this goes to you, Teresa. Okay, why are we getting married? You effed up. You effed up getting married. Marriage is like such a bigger thing. It's a legal partnership. When you have so much money and so much on the line, why are we just getting married so willy-nilly? Why did J-Lo and Ben get married? I'm dying to know. What I heard was the final straw in their marriage was not the fact that, she's very celebrity oriented and likes to be on the red carpets and do all the shows. Like, we heard that as a theory, but what I heard was the final straw was her alcohol brand. So she has this alcohol, I can't remember if it's tequila or what brand that she announced about a year ago, and he's sober. So apparently that was like the final straw. He was like, I absolutely can't be like, married to someone who wants to live a completely different life than me and also is promoting alcohol when your partner is, obviously struggling with it. So good luck, Ben and Jen, right? Good luck to them. And may his next dragon lover be a little bit more understanding of story. of the story of it, you know? Wow. Yes. I'm quoting Joe Rogan. Is that really triggering to some? Uh-oh. Are we not allowed to talk about Joe Rogan? Uh-oh, the number one comedian on Netflix this weekend. Are we not allowed to talk about him? No, 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 not on this show. We can talk about Joe Rogan. We can talk about Joe Rogan. We can talk about people on all sides of the political spectrum because this is not a political show. This is just like we just talk about entertainment. And Joe Rogan is a very big, obvious, very big part of the zeitgeist. So unless if you're going to be triggered by the mention of a joke that Joe said about dragons, we got a bigger problem in life. Um, Tanya, thank you so much for the super sticker. So not necessary. Wow, and I appreciate you. Thank you. That was really, really kind. Really kind. Was it because I talked about Joe Rogan? Let's be real. Was it? Um, okay. Andrew says, "Why get married when love don't cost a thing?" I mean, for real. Your love don't cost a thing. I loved J-Lo music, like, back in the early 2000s when I used to work out at 24-hour fitness, get on that I just remember the, elliptical, would listen to all of the J-Lo music. Okay, um, by the way, like, I'm not talking about Joe Rogan as a person in any way because the truth is, and this is the honest truth, if I only talked about people who I thought were perfectly good people, my show would be 3 minutes long. All of the people we talk about on the show are fucked up. They are in some capacity. Why? Because they're famous. They're famous, right? They're like, you know, if you are a celebrity, if you were on TV, if you were on a reality show, if you're a comedian, if you're a politician, if you're anyone, like you're probably a little effed in the head. I say that even about myself on a small level because who would want to put themselves through this? What normal person would want to put themselves through public scrutiny on a daily basis? Like it's not normal. I want to become a librarian. That's my next job. My next job is going to be a librarian. Let's move on to Real Housewives of New Jersey. This is the big story of the day, you guys. This was raise your hand in the chat. Tell me, did you watch the show? Did you watch the finale? I will tell you, I watched it today because I was hanging out with Lance, as you guys heard on Patreon, and we were having fun. And then we watched Deadpool 1 because he's dying for me to get through the Deadpool so I can watch Deadpool versus Wolverine. So I did not watch Deadpool. I mean, I did not watch basically Deadpool. Might as well call it Deadpool. Real Housewives in New Jersey. I didn't watch it until today, but I did get a lot of text messages last night about it. So many, in fact, from a lot of people that you guys know. One of them says, "Oh my God, this finale is amazing. You have to watch it." No, like tonight, you have to watch it. Another one says, "This is an absolute, horrendous finale. You don't learn anything." Someone said, "I can't stand Dolores. She's the worst of the worst." I have to say something. I don't know why, but I can't help but still like Dolores, even though she is and Andy asked her on Watch What Happens Live, she's playing both sides. She goes, "No, I don't believe I'm playing both sides." Playing both sides meaning it means like siding with this person, turning them on this person, going against and like kind of lying to, turn them against each other. She goes, "I'm not doing that. I'm trying to keep the peace." When I tell you, I saw quite a moment between Dolores and Marge last night. So did you guys, I'm sure, when she said, "You're a lying cunt." I died. Dolores got activated. Dolores got Lindsay activated. Like, I don't know if I've seen Dolores ever be that activated. But let's get into what this episode was about. The house burned down, literally, figuratively, metaphorically, as a general story, the house burned down for the Jersey retreat finale. Thank God. And the only one that's really upset about that house burning down is Louis. Why? Because Louis is not able to put on the big screen his devotions for his wife that he made ever. Jenny, I love you, Jenny. Jenny, Jenny. I can't get over Bill Aiden singing to Jenny, but Remember the devotions? All he did that for, that was not for the girls. That was for everyone to see Louis. That was a way for Louis to be like, look at what a man I am. What a man I am. It's like men who want their wives to be, dripping in diamonds and jewelry. It's not because the wives want it in a lot of these cases, it's because the men want other people to look and say, wow, that man's got a lot of money. That man's got a lot going on. And so I think, Louis is a showboat through and through. To think about the fact, I got emotional in some parts of last night's episode in the flashback scenes with Nani and Poppy. When you're seeing the old scenes of the grandma and the grandpa and how all they said to Joe Gorga was take care of your sister. And the only thing, and I don't know if it's the only thing or not, because the truth is, like, at some point they could have probably separated anyway. But Louis coming into the equation really speed tracked or sped up that, the problems between Teresa and Melissa and Joe. It was sad though to see these old scenes, And who knew Rails was going to be like such a moment. But of course, at the beginning of the episode, we start out by saying, we always see like a little bit at everyone's houses. I love Danielle. I don't know what it is about her. I love Danielle. I love her husband. I love Nate and his big boobs. I love their kids. I listened to Bitch Sesh last week, and one thing that Casey Wilson said will always stick with me now is that she said, Danielle's house smells like a Yankee Candle store. And ever since I heard that, I'm like, literally, I think we saw Yankee Candles out on the, on the island. Like her house just does have she's like a Hallmark home, right? But I like them and I like her family. I do. Rachel Fuda and John Fuda, not as big of fans, but I like that, I like the newer generation of these women. I do. Um, and I've told you this many times on the show is that I believe that like I watch every episode as an insular episode. And there's episodes where I walk away and I say, wow, I really liked Teresa on this episode. And then there's episodes that I walk away and I'm like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with Marge, But this is an episode that like really threw me for a loop. Obviously, I can't stand Teresa anymore. I really can't, you guys. And Danny Pellegrino on Watch What Happens Live was asked the question about what do you want, for the reboot? And he was like, I just really think we should have Teresa back. Dolores, Fessler, and Teresa. Are people too scared? Are people too scared to say that they don't think Teresa's good for the show? Because with Teresa comes Louis. You guys realize that no matter who Teresa ends up on a show with, no matter if they do a reboot with none of the same cast, if Teresa's there, so is Louis, which means it's drama. It's going to be right back to where it is. Louis is Shady McShady. And right as I say this, I think Bo Dietl just showed up at my front door. Like I'm almost a little bit like hesitant to talk about it on the podcast because I believe literally, oh my God, ring motion at my front door right now as I said that. Bo Dietl is here. Excuse me, James Leonard. James Leonard and Bo Dietl have served me. I believe that, there is definitely a um I don't see Teresa coming back on the show. I give her a show, fine, but don't put her back on Housewives. Right? Now, the episode really kind of like it starts over. Obviously, we see everyone's little houses, but we see Marge. We go to Marge, and this is the bigger, like the big scene between Marge and Dolores. We go to Marge's house where Marge shockingly doesn't have makeup on for a big scene. Like this was going to be a big scene. I was shocked by Marge's lack of makeup in this scene. Weren't you guys? Jen Fessler comes over, of course, in her cute little denim getup, always looking so adorable. Marge has no makeup. Her veneers were veneering. I've never seen her teeth that big. I think when you wear all the makeup and the big eyes and the big lips and everything, it kind of detracts from your teeth. But when you're makeup free, your teeth are showing and growing and flowing. And so she and, she's serving all kinds of cronuts and puddings and all these things. What time of the day was it? Jen Fessler, I thought it was breakfast with the cronuts and the puddings. Dolores is drinking coffee. Jen Fessler wants red wine. I was so confused. What time is it? What time are we in here? But this is exactly at the same time that Teresa is having her brunch. So that's why I think it's like the middle of the day. And this was like the Marge takedown moment. Marge shows Jen Fessler the flower arrangement, and Jen doesn't think it's nearly as funny as America did. America loved that moment. Dolores comes over and they start talking, and Dolores basically wants to share with Marge what went down. She's obviously in a mood. You can tell she's already in a mood. She feels a little bit swayed, I think, because she just came from Teresa's house, which was very anti-Marge, and she came over to Marge's to kind of just, connect and talk to her. But I could tell that she was already in a moment. She already had a feeling. She was already feeling a little bit maybe amped up. And Marge said something. She said, I never had a takedown meeting. We had a reunion review. The way that she says reunion review, as if this is something that everyone does. Like a reunion review. That's a normal thing. A reunion review. She had a reunion review. Dolores goes, it would be nice if I was invited. Now, I want you to go back. And this is when we get private investigator Craig Conover on the case. Because if you go back and watch Marge getting upset to Dolores saying, I did invite you. I called you. It wasn't a big deal. I did invite you. Guess what she was doing? Watch me close, okay? Let's zoom up for this. Watch me close. I did invite you. I did. I invited you. Every time she talked and said something about how she did call Dolores and did invite her, she looked to the side. She's lying. It was so obviously a lie. Dolores would never have jumped on that and like gotten crazy about that if she really was invited. There's no reason, but Dolores went nuts. She was already feeling it. She was hungry. The pudding hadn't come to her system yet. Mark says that you guys have reunion reviews every day before you log on to my show, and I'm not okay with that. At least invite me next time. You lying CUNTs. Invite me. So they have that moment where they get really upset and then they calm down, and Dolores goes, I never yell at anyone like that unless they're my sister. But I don't believe that Dolores was invited to that. I really don't. I think that, in my opinion, I think that Marge was lying about that. They decide to do this final supper because they can't go to this burned down house, and they go over to Rails. Now we see everyone kind of getting ready for the experience. Marge says, I'm going to look fantastic. I need to look fantastic because this is the last time they're ever going to see me. We have everyone talking about, are we going to talk about this? Are we not going to talk about this? Melissa, like everyone's kind of just preparing themselves for this big day. I thought it was really mostly a Marge Teresa moment kind of in public. What I didn't realize, there was an expectation for Melissa and Teresa to kind of have it out. Teresa went nuts. Okay. Well, before that, we have a scene between Louis and Teresa where they're getting ready for let me just pull up exactly what he said. They're getting ready for the lunch or the dinner, and obviously he's not invited. It's just the women. But he's sitting there. He's sitting there, always in the same position, sitting there waiting, talking to Teresa. Do you like how he's like, so what's your what are you going to do today? What do you have a plan? And she's like, I'm not strategic. I just don't have strategy. I don't have the way that, and he was like, of course you don't. So they're sitting there talking about everything. In this scene, he goes like, what about Marge? Make sure Marge knows she's vile. And Teresa's like, I don't have anything to say to Marge. I don't have anything to say. I have nothing to say. The hands are handing. And in this moment, Louis says, I hope Margaret's son suffers. Because Teresa had accused, the main reason is that Teresa had accused Margaret of talking to Louis's exes. And then Margaret said, well, Louis called my son at work. This was at the reunion and went off on him. And so this was like the whole big drama. So Louis says in this moment to Teresa, tell her to stay away from our family. And you know what? I hope Margaret and her family suffer. I hope her effing son suffers the way I suffered, the way other people in our family have suffered. Then he called Joseph's a disgusting, vile human being. And then Teresa's like, yeah, I mean, our kids suffered. Yeah, your kids suffered, but not because of Marge. Okay. Your kids suffered because you married Louis, even though they like him in your dad's pajamas, which is just never not going to be creepy. It's never not going to be creepy. The fact that you're wearing her dead dad's pajamas. It's gross. Anyway, that I thought was absolutely disgusting. You do not go after kids. If I was Margaret, if I was Margaret, I would go to his house with a damn hammer. Like, do not go after people's kids. I don't care if they're over 18 or not. Not a fan. So it was just gross. But then they ended up going to this lunch dinner. Again, no idea what time it is. It's daytime. They're all drinking cosmopolitans. Like no one else is in the restaurant. Did they close down rails for this moment? They should have. They knew. They knew that they were going to go to this restaurant. And it was going to be what we say in in Hebrew, a balagan. A balagan is exactly what this is. A chaotic scene. There were about 6 security guards standing in the corner. I mean, you would have thought Secret Services was there. It was as if we were watching like the biggest, heads of countries, foreign affairs moment. We had like 6 bodyguards, producers, closed down the restaurant. Like we had a convoy outside. I mean, it was wild. So they're sitting out there and they're basically they just start talking. They just start going at it. Let's start here. Let's start there. Of course, we have a Jen and Danielle moment. Once again, Jen is, in my opinion, you guys, I'm sorry. I find her to be unreal, rude, and disgusting when it comes to Danielle. I don't know why she hates her so much. I hate the fact that she goes after her for everything. And the moment she could have said more and more, she kept going after Danielle for being poor, which is the most disgusting thing you can say, which is another reason why it like triggers me with Gina and Jen over on Real Housewives of OC. But at least that's like more because of business. This just feels rude and mean. That she's like, you're jealous of my life. I wish I wish you wish you had as many bathrooms as me or whatever. And when Jen mentioned that Nate, Danielle's husband, has, man boobs, that was it. Danielle was like, F you. And she just lunged across the table. They pulled her apart. They finally decided from the producer, Danielle was really upset. Teresa made it about her. But like, what about me and Marge? And Danielle finally sat down on the opposite side of the table. And then we get into the conversation with Marge, right? So they're going back and forth. And Teresa, oh, by the way, when she lunges, everyone's standing up, everyone's fighting. And this is when Teresa goes, I don't even want to say it on the show, but I guess it's part of the show. You whore, you whore. My brother married a whore, a whore, a whore. I feel like we're singing a song. This is like a musical. A whore, a whore. My brother married a whore, a whore, a whore. Like, this isn't Jersey Shore. It was real bad. It was real bad. So, they're going back and forth. There's major drama. Rachel Food is like, enough. And Rachel Food was the Taylor Armstrong of this scene. Enough. What's going on with the two of you? What do you mean what's going on with the two of you, Rachel? Have you watched Real Housewives in New Jersey since season 2? Since the christening? What do you mean what's going on with the two of you? Then, we start getting into it with Marge and Teresa. And then we get a bombshell unlike any bombshell ever. And the way that Jackie was able to do this, I still don't really understand how this was happening. But in this moment, that Marge pulls up receipts that Jackie, in fact, invited Louis's ex-wife to her home in February of 2021, right after Teresa and her had a big falling out. And they were going through some major drama in that time. And Marge brings it up. And Jackie is like, What? Are you insane? Are you out of your mind? What are you talking about? No, I didn't. I didn't do that. What are you talking about? No, you're insane. Okay, yes, I did it. Did you guys all fall off your chair like a record scratch moment? She's holding to her guns. Are you insane? This is insane. I never did it. I don't even know her. What are you talking? Okay, yes, Teresa, I have to tell you something. I did it. I did. Okay. And I'm really glad you know now because I was really nervous. What? It was crazy. So Marge is like, it's Jackie. I think Marge still has something to do with it. I'm not gonna lie. I think Marge is way too invested in hating Louis for it not to be the case. But Jackie definitely had her arm in the fire here. And Teresa's like, it's okay. I don't care about Jackie. It was so strange. Still mad at Margaret. Now we find out, or like someone said in a confessional, the reason why this is happening is because most likely Teresa is so intent on taking Margaret down because Louis hates Margaret so much that she doesn't matter what anyone says about anything, Margaret's going to take the fall. They could have literally said that Jackie is currently right now sleeping with Louis, and Teresa would have been like, but Margaret, but you. It was really wild. It was crazy. So Dolores says Jackie is walking out of here with a diaper on. She's shitting her pants. And she really was like, she kind of was like struggling to walk out of there. You could just tell that she's like, oh shit. I wonder if I'll be back next season. It was a strange moment. The whole thing. I couldn't believe how long Jackie was holding on to that lie. Like she was going for it until, Melissa finally, and even Jen Aiden was like, I think Dolores, Jen, and Melissa all said, like, Jackie, like, sounds to me like you're lying. Like, she's not bringing this up unless she knows the truth. It was crazy. So they kind of just like talked about the fact that nothing was resolved. We saw that one moment of Dolores just sitting there in her black funeral outfit, just being like, what happened? My lunch at Rails. And that makes sense why they weren't able to have a reunion because that's where it was left off. Now, I noticed something a little while ago, and I want to know if you guys have noticed. In the trailer for Real Housewives of New Jersey this season, we saw a moment of Louis and Teresa in a distance in some sort of courtyard with what looked like a producer, where he was really upset and she was really upset. Why haven't we seen that? Why wasn't that on the show? There was actually a couple moments on the Real Housewives of New Jersey trailer that were not on the show. Let me see if I can find. Let me see if I can find the actual trailer. Let's watch this together and let's see what what we didn't actually see on the show. This is interesting. This is from Bravo's YouTube.
This season on The Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Who's next for the ass shot?
He likes a little tickly ass.
Why is there a lemon on his peach video?
I'm not wearing any of these. Nice and loose. You never borrow any of my pants.
Ew, Bill. Oh, look how fun it is, you guys. It's so fun. Fun.
We are a bunch of savages.
I wouldn't trade my friends for anyone. Cheers to our friendship. I love you guys.
Cheers.
I can't believe you're leaving me.
Oh my God, this feels like a year ago.
I brought
Doesn't
my
it feel
tissues.
like 6 years ago when Melissa dropped
Going to college in 3 days.
I'm trying to
kids off?
I'm gonna miss you.
So what's up with Paulie and Dolores? He's still married.
Wait, by the way, we never got the answer about Joe's MRI, his colonoscopy. Like, did we his prostate? Did we? I don't remember hearing anything. Okay, let's keep watching.
He won't get divorced? I don't know.
You have a right to know your future.
Yeah. Do you think if I get divorced, I'm just going to get down on my knee and engage you the next day?
I'm gonna have to rethink this.
Margaret, how are you and Joe doing?
Your marriage was better when Jan was alive.
Are you like reflecting on meeting him?
Everybody loves the Messler. You know, like Stifler? Stifler. We got the Messler. I think you're awesome.
That's who you want to associate yourself with?
Yes.
I feel like I'm mourning what our friendship used to be.
I don't understand what you're so upset about, Rich.
Hi, how are you?
Jackie Judas Goldschneider. You want to tell Teresa everything you've been doing behind her back?
I'm being friends with whoever I want to be friends with, and I don't care.
This is so comical to me right now.
You have like a heart on for my husband. I don't know why.
I don't have a heart on for him. It's a limp dick with your husband.
Oh, I'll be Teresa.
Honey, I want no part of it. I want no part of it.
Oh my God, this
You're
is
the
the longest
poster
trailer
child for
ever.
mortgage fraud.
That was my husband. Thank you very much.
Teresa is distraught because in the house, there is not a lot of calm.
Every time I talk to her, her stomach is in knots.
She's not doing great.
When I need my money laundered, I'll call you. I want it to be better.
This moment with the producer, I imagine he's a producer. Maybe not, because he's just wearing like it could just be like headphones. And this is them. What? Why didn't we watch this? Let's watch it again.
I'll call you. I want it to be better.
It's not going
to be
better.
All right.
I don't want to talk about it.
What was that about?
What's going on with you and me? Just out of curiosity.
Okay. I don't want to keep watching the entire thing because it will go on and on and on and on. Why didn't we see that scene? Like, what stronghold does Louis have on Bravo? Maybe they just didn't want to get sued. I mean, I have no idea. But at the end of the day, you know, it was a good show. It was a good episode. I found it really interesting. I actually wouldn't mind keep watching this crew, except like I'm sick of the same fights over and over. But now this was a good season of Real Housewives, in my opinion. I thought this was a good season. I thought it was a really interesting dynamic. I can't keep seeing the same thing. Like they can't keep playing the same storylines over and over, which is why I think they need to have a reboot. But I imagine that they did pretty good with their numbers in this season. I have no idea actually, but I imagine they did okay. Luann was interviewed and she spoke about how she thinks that it should be reboot with some new cast members and some OGs. But that's kind of what they did when they brought in Rachel Fuda and Danielle. And which OGs would you keep? You can't keep Teresa. I just don't know how you can keep Teresa. And then you also kind of can't keep just Melissa. Because, like, what's her storyline other than seeing Joe Gorga do some weird Rayo's ad? Actually, I laughed. It was kind of a funny ad, in my opinion. Between Joe Gorga doing the Rayo's ad, Danielle Cabral and her daughter doing the Treetop ad, it was like, I felt like we were watching just like, I don't know, we were like in a simulation. Like Real Housewives have taken over the commercials now too. So it will be interesting. Yeah, Wanda says Bravo baited us with this trailer and the season was a meh. It was a meh. There wasn't a lot that happened. I mean, I think it was just like even the big burn, party of Margaret didn't say anything that was that crazy. I think the biggest moment was Jackie admitting to being a liar, saying that she did invite, Louis' ex. That was the biggest moment. Okay, we will talk about it again next week because we'll watch the finale. I don't know how good that episode will be, but we'll have to see. And of course, I'll be back tomorrow. You guys send good thoughts and love to the family with everything that's going on. I will be able to tell you guys more about it. So I'm sorry if I was in a little bit of a funk at the beginning of this episode. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you beyond for all of you that have subscribed to Patreon, to the members only here on YouTube. Of course, to subscribe, make sure you subscribe. Like 30 or 40% of my viewers on a daily basis are not subscribed. That I don't get. Why? And then, of course, if you're listening on the audio app, the podcast itself is going through some changes right now. This is a behind the scenes kind of business thing. It's going through some changes, and nothing's going to change for you guys, hopefully, except things will get better for the show, like rebranding type stuff and business wise. So just be aware. It's a moving vehicle. But yes, thank you for subscribing to my OnlyFans. Andrew Dominguez and we co-star every day. And Mark Ward does he does the presentation. Yeah, it will be fun. Love you guys. See you tomorrow. Bye.